Hi everyone and welcome to International Film Festival Etiuda&Anima. My name is Paulina and I will be moderating today's panel. I am pleased to introduce my next guest, Rubén Seca from Spain. Hello. You are somewhere between your, where are you actually right now?
If you know Barcelona, I'm close to the Triumph Arc in Finca Regia.
Okay, we catch you somewhere on the street, and now we have a short time to talk about your movie, Finca Regia, which we can see on our festival. And this movie shows a story about Inaki, who discovers that his apartment is actually can be sold together with him inside this apartment. And this is my first question to you about Inaki, about the actor who played that part. Could you tell us a bit how looked that process, casting, and how you come up with this actor?
Yeah, sure. Actually, the main actor was going to be Pere Roig, who is the friend who plays with him chess, no, in that little scene. But unluckily, he went ill before the shooting, and he couldn't make it to be all the days shooting that had. No? So 2 days before the shooting, I had to call this actor, Jose Maria Blanco, which was already retired, has 40 years of career, and he agreed to play the main role. No? So I was very happy to have such a good actor to play that.
Okay, thank you. One more thing, could you take your microphone closer to your cheek, because right now I poorly hear you, and maybe when you do that, it will be better for me to hear you.
Okay. I have to get closer to the screen. It's
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, could you tell me, because in this in your movie we can see that real estate agents were shown as a kind of mafia. Could you explain why you portrayed them in that manner?
Yeah, sure. I don't know in other cities, but in Barcelona, it's happening that a lot of old people who has these old rents, and they can get higher prices in the rent. A lot of real estate men are doing really this kind of practices of breaking the door of the house, so people can enter and taking sex in the houses, a lot of things. No? So when I discovered these real stories, I was really impacted and sad, because these old people who has lived 40 years in this flat in a rent was now having such a pain. No? And I know not all real estates do that, but I wanted to show a reality here in our city. That's
Okay.
happening.
Okay. Have you had the same situation in Barcelona when you were looking for a flat for yourself?
It's a different situation. We are suffering from really high prices, so it's not easy to find something, and real estates try to put also the price higher to become more income. But the point is, the situation is bad for people who had old rents, no? Because these old rents are protected by law in Spain, and they cannot put higher rents in that. So we have old people paying maybe 200 euro for a whole flat, while we have to pay 1,500 nowadays. So it's kind of a situation.
Okay, so can we interpret your movie as a commentary to that situation, or maybe an example of rebellion against that situation?
Yes, in part it has this part of social critique I wanted to put, but I went a bit further. No, I made it has a little of Kafkian point in the matter that real estates cannot enter in the houses at the moment. But I think in the future, if we follow the steps, they will be able to do this kind of things. No? So I wanted to just advise about how bad they were going here in a fiction, to show what can happen in the future maybe if we don't stop them.
Mhm. You told us that one of the inspiration to this movie was Kafka's literature, and yeah, when you said that, I think that we can find some connections between real estate agents and these people who actually work in institutions which Kafka tries to portray in his Czech literature. And we can find real estate agents as a person who build huge institutions. Is it like that in Spain right now?
Yes, a bit. I mean, bureaucratic problems are always a problem, I guess, in all countries. From Kafka, I think the big example or reference was the process, no, and not only the book but also the film of Orson Welles, no, in the visuals. So I wanted to portray a bit this bureaucratic stuff, no, of Iñaki doesn't know what is happening. It doesn't understand why these people is entering with people to watch his flat with no permission. So I try to put this strange atmosphere of what is going on, no? And the things happens one behind the other, no?
Okay.
I don't know if I answered.
Yes, thank you. You mentioned Orson Welles' movie based on Kafka's literature, and I can. And also in Orson Welles' movie, we have black and white sonography. It's the same in your movie. This is again another reference to Kafka's to Orson Welles' movies.
In general, I'm a director who likes a lot black and white, but not only. I have done also works in color. But in this case, I wanted to give this expressionist atmosphere because I think it could work really good to this era, you know, how the shadows of the characters go in the walls, how the atmosphere gets more and more like a repression. So yes, when I saw the process of Orson Welles, I did like a lot how he treats the black and white, no? Not only in this movie, also in other ones, where he plays really with this dark and shadows to transfer something to the spectator, no? So it was kind of a reference.
So what are your next projects? You've told us that you plan something right now.
Yes, at the moment I'm preparing a new short film, which will be shot in March. It's about a man who gets a terminal sickness, and he tries to commit himself suicide, but he doesn't dare to. So he contracts a hitman, no? A contract killer, to kill him in the street in this moment. The point is that when he has done this, he receives a call of the hospital and sees that he has nothing. There was an error of the hospital and he's not ill. Yes, I was telling that I'm doing this new project titled Mortis Causa. It's about a guy who someday becomes a sickness, a terminal sickness, and he has a sad life. What he tries is to commit suicide himself, but he doesn't. He can do it by himself. So at the end, he contracts a contract killer, the hitman, to kill him in the street random. The point is, once he has done this, he becomes a call from the hospital, and he discovers he has no sickness. It was an error from the hospital, and in that moment he enters in panic because everyone in the street could be suspicious, and that's a bit the plot. No, I don't want to spoil the rest.
Okay. It will be also in black and white, and could you tell us a bit about your technique in this movie?
The intention is to be black and white, but I have to think about it still. I think it fits a lot to make a black and white atmosphere because I'm planning to shoot in the center of Barcelona, in the Gothic, which has this kind of old stones everywhere, and it helps to give a big. For example, the final plot is in Felip Neri, that you can Google and see how it is. It's a really nice place in Barcelona. So I was planning to do black and white to gain in texture, and I'm not sure, but I have to think about it still.
Okay, thank
It
you.
will be,
Yeah, I think that this is really interesting that you have decided to take black and white in your movie, because when we think about Spanish cinematography, the first what comes into our mind is Almodóvar, and his movies are really colorful, full of colors, strong colors, and here you present something opposite. That's really interesting.
yes, Almodóvar, I know he's the big reference in Spain, and he's represented by red always, no? He uses a lot of red. I think in Spain now there is a new school of filmmakers, which there are a lot of people doing different things, and not necessarily like Almodóvar, who is a great filmmaker and I like him a lot. But I'm trying to find my own style, my own aesthetic, so I will keep experimenting at the moment.
Okay. Thank you for that conversation and that you find a few minutes time to talk with us about your movie, Finca Regia, which you can see on our festival Etiuda&Anima. Thank you for being with us and see you maybe someday, one day. Thank you.
Hopefully, thank you for the interview and for the selection. I'm very happy to be part of it. See you.